Hey, what's up, all you amphibians out there? I'm Duuz-Diz-Din, and I'm coming at you again with another review of Amphibia. This time it's Season two's Episodes 16 and 17. Let's begin with the first half of this episode, Little Frogtown. I don't know why I broke up Frogtown. Whatever, let's jump in. As we see the Planter family, having fun just kind of watching Anne's phone. Basically, she's watching an old film noir TV drama, and Habadiah is driving. Dude, eyes on the road, Jesus. And they're really kind of caught up with it, especially Habadiah, because old school, old school. He knows that feeling. And at first, it seems like they're headed to the Newtopia arcade to play some games. But no, Habadiah is all about visiting his old pal Sal. And Sal, made these amazing sandwiches with this incredible sauce, and Hopadiah's long to taste that sweet, sweet, saucy goodness. And it's been a while. They were old friends back when they were back in their hometown, and he's really missed them, and he really just wants to see his old friend and get that taste of home. But of course, everybody else is all about that arcade, so they basically ditch Hopadiah to go hang out. However, once Hopadiah goes into Sal's place, he finds that it looks like it's been ransacked. And after finding a note, a flyer that's all about the this gala going on oddly enough tonight, and a message that says get that sauce. He thinks that Sal was kidnapped in order to extort him for his special sauce, which was a big hit in Newtopia back in the day. Meanwhile, Anne, Sprig, and Polly end up waiting in this massive line that takes a long time, and they end up getting skipped in line by this little kid. And while Anne wants to fight against this injustice, Spring and Polly tell her to just let it go. Meanwhile, at the Newtopia Gala, Hopadiah infiltrates the gala as a wealthy business frog, and after seeing that the sauce has been sprinkled on the hors d'oeuvres, he ends up stealing the outfit of one of the waiters, only to end up running into the head chef. But it doesn't seem like anything's gonna happen at first, only for the waiter he knocked out to come in with security, saying that guy stole my friggin' clothes. Who does that? And well, at first Hopadiah is able to fight off the bouncer. The head chef ends up tossing him in the dumpster, where he finds a tin of one of the sauces that contains Sal's sauce. So it even has the address of where the sauce is made from. Meanwhile, Anne gets slighted once again when the kid ends up inviting his friends to hop in front of him, which Anne is just not about. And once the kids question what she's gonna do about it, she ends up saying some stuff that ends up scaring one of the kids half to death, which gets her in big trouble. Meanwhile, Hopadiah arrives at the sauce factory and infiltrates the place, only to end up running into the floor manager, and after a brief scuffle, Hopadiah ends up knocking the floor manager into one of the vats of sauce. I'm pretty sure he did. He's either dead or he's gonna become the Joker. Either one. It could go either way. But Hopadiah ends up getting captured by security and brought to the big boss, who is none other than Sal himself. As it turns out, Sal's sandwich business wasn't doing that great. People only wanted the sauce. And while Sal had his misgivings and reservations about just selling his sauce only, it ended up being a big hit and managed to net him a wealthy profit, all things considered. With Sal ultimately saying that, the future can be kind of scary, but if you're willing to just put in the work and grow and adapt, you can be a part of how the future is shaped, which is a philosophy I really like. I really like that. And, Hoppediah just apologizes for any trouble that he might have caused, feeling that things haven't gotten too out of hand, only for a body to be found in one of the vats. Probably the floor managers. It's just like, Hoppediah killed a man. And he beats feet. He gets the fuck out of there and ends up running back into Anne, Sprig, and Polly, questioning if they were ever able to get into the arcade. Unfortunately, they ended up being banned for life, and even got tased. Don't tase me, bro. People don't know about that meme anymore, but yeah, she kind of got in a bit of trouble. Whereas Hoppediah ends up caught in his own, film noir narration, and it's just funny. It's just like, I love it. It's just like, I can't speak out loud anymore. I'm trapped in narration mode. But that's the end of that fun and just kind of to the side episode. But the real meat of this story is episode 17, Hopping Mall. As we open up with the planters and Anne. They have their last few days of just being in Utopia before they meet back up with the king, and Hoppediah ends up giving them a small pittance, saying, souvenirs are all about buying something cheap and affordable. So he's just like, go out, get a souvenir, responsibility, blah, blah, blah. With Hoppediah ended up seeing a reclining chair that has these bugs that vibrate and all this stuff. And he is absolutely in heaven with that thing. I think he needs some alone time with the chair. Meanwhile, Anne wants to buy something for her mom and sees this butterfly teapot. And her mom loves butterflies, so it's this one of a kind crafted thing made by this newt who was very popular in Utopia. This revered Utopian artist, it says. But as it turns out, it's this prize in the Smash and Mash, a kart racing derby, which the winner receives the pot. And one of the lead contenders in it is Priscilla and her daughter Pearl. And she's just like, yeah, I'm totally gonna win this, big beefy lady who's just like, yeah, you got no chance, Mop Top. And Anne, seeing a challenge, is all about winning that sweet, sweet teapot. And so Anne studies up on the rules while Sprig has actually managed to buy a gift for his girlfriend, Ivy. Ooh, such a sweet little boy. And Pen, per, Polly, too many P names in this episode, so forgive me because I'm going to jumble this all up. Penny, Pearl, Polly, Priscilla. Okay, let's go. Polly has managed to actually learn the art of haggling and got some nice bling with a nice bedazzled bucklet, as she really just kind of she socially murdered a man on an emotional level in order to get this. Meanwhile, they end up kind of trying to scope out perfect cart for their exploits, as it were, as Anne is an expert in this, as she, Sasha, and Marcy would just go around riding carts here and there, 'cause delinquents and all that good stuff. And Anne ends up overhearing that Priscilla's tail hasn't recovered from the last derby, so it's a weak point that's going to come back at some point later on in the future. Meanwhile, while Anne and Sprig end up finding the perfect cart, they see that Polly has yet again managed to gain something through haggling. Of course it would be Polly. But the event begins, and we get a Smash Brothers reference with a block knockback combo that leaves with one of the enemies flying off the stage. Like, what a interesting reference just put in there all of a sudden. I love it. But with the last two contestants being Anna Sprigg and Priscilla and Pearl, they end up knocking each other off the path and almost into Polly. Not the baby! Has that always been a thing? The whole not the baby thing? It's just like, I feel like it's not as prominent, but it comes up every now and again. And while Anne is able to ollie over Polly, I can't believe I managed to say that. Priscilla has to use her tail in order to come to a complete stop, just barely managing to avoid hitting Polly. But Priscilla is weakened, and because of that, Sprig and Anne are able to take her and Pearl down. Unfortunately, this ends up destroying the gift Sprig was going to give to Ivy. And while Anne does end up getting the teapot, poor Sprig, he tries to convince himself that if it was that easy to break, it wasn't good enough for Ivy anyway. And while Priscilla does congratulate Anne on her victory, it soon becomes clear with her intimate knowledge of the teapot that this was actually made, the artist who made this was none other than Priscilla's mother. And Anne, not wanting to deprive someone of the last gift that they have of their mother, because in a touching moment, you know, Priscilla ends up kind of reminiscing over her mother, and it's very clear that her mother is no longer with her, and she wanted to win this last thing that her mother ever made. And Anne gives it up because, she cares about her mom too. She misses her mom. And Priscilla is very thankful, and Pearl even gives Anne this butterfly pendant that she had made herself. And while she says she's not a famous artist, but it was something that she made herself. And it is such a sweet moment, and I full on started tearing up because I'm just like, oh my god, that is so much more wholesome than what I thought was going to happen with this. It really just friggin' touched me in a way that I was not ready for. Meanwhile, Hapadai ends up taking that chair that he found. It's just like, yeah, it's expensive, but dude, it's so heavenly to sit on. But late at night, back at the hotel, Sprig sees that Anne is still up. And Anne is just kind of reminiscing over her mother, missing her mother. It's just like, and tells Sprig that, while they didn't always see eye to eye, she misses her mom, and it's a heartbreaking moment because it's just like, Anne never shows it, but, she's been here a long time now, several months, and she really starting to miss being back home and seeing her mom and the teapot, being butterfly based, and her mom loves butterflies, and it's just like, she didn't always see eye to eye with her mom. They had their issues, they had their problems, but she still loved her because it was her mom. Distance makes the heart grow fonder. But Sprig takes a moment to say it's just like, at least Anne knows her mom, knew her mom. With Sprig and Polly, their mother died when they were very young, and he questions, can you miss someone you don't even remember? And Anne doesn't even respond. She just gives Sprig a hug, and oh man, it's just, oof, just, I wasn't expecting to find out about Sprig and Polly's mom this way, and it just a heartbreaking little moment. And we don't even get the usual credits. It's just the view overlooking the hotel, looking out over Newtopia with the moon in the background, and it's just, it gives you a moment to just take in everything, and it's just, it got me. It really did. But I want to hear your thoughts. What did you think about finding out about what exactly is the deal with Spring and Polly's mom? Do you think she's really gone? Do you think she might be out there and they just don't know? What about their dad? And did this episode touch you the way it touched me? And not in the bad way. Stop that. Come on. But I want to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. If you like this video, leave me a like. If you didn't, feel free to leave me a dislike. Subscribe and hit the bell icon. That way you never miss out on another Amphibia episode review. And until next time, I've been Duuz-Diz-Din, and I will see you later. Bye-bye.